My name is Sarah Bennett, and this is my story about how I ignored every single red flag about my boyfriend for 2 years. The controlling behavior, the isolation from friends, the constant monitoring, until I found a folder on his laptop labeled Sarah Management, with spreadsheets tracking my location, my menstrual cycle, my emotional patterns, and a detailed timeline for when he planned to secure permanent commitment by getting me pregnant without my knowledge. "You look so beautiful today," my boyfriend Derek said, kissing my forehead as I got ready for work. "That dress is perfect on you. Maybe wear the blue cardigan instead of the black one, though. Blue brings out your eyes." I smiled, changing cardigans. Derek always knew what looked best on me. "Better? Perfect. You're going straight to work and then home, right? No stopping anywhere? I might grab coffee with Emma at lunch." His expression shifted slightly. "Just for a second." "Emma." "Again." "You saw her last week. She's my best friend. We always do Wednesday coffee." "I know. It's just, I feel like you're prioritizing her over us lately. Over our relationship. Derek, having coffee with my friend isn't choosing her over you. I didn't say it was. I'm just expressing how I feel." "Isn't that what we're supposed to do? Communicate?" He was right. Communication was important. "You're right. I'm sorry. But I already told Emma I'd meet her. Of course, I don't want to control you. I just miss you when you're gone. But go. Have fun. I'll just be here, alone, like always." The guilt settled in my chest. I'd been spending a lot of time with friends lately. Maybe Derek was feeling neglected. "How about I skip coffee and we do lunch together instead?" His face brightened immediately. "Really? You'd do that for me?" "Of course. Let me just text Emma." "You're amazing. This is why I love you. You always put us first." I texted Emma. "So sorry, need to reschedule. Derek needs me today." Her response, "Again? Sarah, this is the third time this month you've canceled on me." I felt defensive. Emma didn't understand. She'd never had a relationship as serious as mine and Derek's. "He's just going through a tough time. I need to be supportive." "You're always supporting him." "When does he support you?" I didn't respond. Put my phone away. Derek was waiting at the door, ready to walk me to my car like he did every morning. "I charged your phone last night," he said, handing it to me, "and I updated that tracking app we use. You know, for safety." The tracking app. Derek had insisted we both install it 6 months ago. "So we always know each other is safe," he'd said. At first, it felt sweet, caring. Now sometimes it felt like surveillance. But that was paranoid thinking. Derek loved me. He just worried. "Thanks," I said, taking my phone. "Have a good day at work. Text me when you get there. Text me at lunch. Text me before you leave. I like knowing you're okay." "I will." "And Sarah." "Yes? I love you. You know that, right? Everything I do is because I love you so much." "I know. I love you too." I got in my car and drove to work, that familiar knot of guilt and obligation sitting heavy in my chest. Last week, I'd opened my laptop to pay some bills and noticed Derek had been using it. His email was still logged in. I'd meant to log out, but then I saw an email subject that caught my attention. "Timeline, Phase 3 complete." I'd clicked it before I could stop myself. Found an entire folder labeled Sarah Management. Inside were spreadsheets, documents, plans, a 2-year timeline of our relationship with detailed notes about my behavior, my friends, my routines. And Phase 4, scheduled to begin next month. Secure permanent commitment, pregnancy. I sat in my car in the work parking lot, staring at my laptop screen, trying to make sense of what I was seeing. The folder was extensive, organized, methodical. There was a spreadsheet titled Sarah Social Network with tabs for each of my friends: Emma, Rachel, Sophie, my college roommate Lisa, my coworkers. Each tab had detailed notes. Emma, best friend since college, strongest influence, most likely to interfere with relationship goals. Status: successfully reduced contact from 3x week to 1x month. Method: guilt, scheduling conflicts, expressing hurt feelings. Next step: complete isolation. Timeline: 3 months. Rachel, childhood friend, less involved but still close. Status: minimal contact maintained. Last interaction 6 weeks ago. Method: created conflict over wedding planning. Result: Rachel now hesitant to reach out. Next step: wait for natural drift. Sophie, work friend, low priority but potential interference. Status: monitoring. Sarah mentions less frequently. Natural workplace distance increasing. I felt sick reading it. These weren't observations. This was a strategy, a plan to systematically remove every important person from my life. There was another spreadsheet: Sarah, emotional patterns. Columns for dates, my moods, what triggered them, how Derek had responded, and whether his response had achieved desired outcome. One entry from 3 months ago: Sarah expressed frustration about not seeing Emma enough. I expressed hurt that she prioritized Emma over me. Result: Sarah canceled plans with Emma, stayed home with me instead. Outcome: successful. Guilt is effective motivator. Another from 6 weeks ago: Sarah wanted to attend Rachel's engagement party. I mentioned feeling sick, asked her to stay home to take care of me. Result: Sarah stayed home, brought me soup, apologized for being selfish. Outcome: successful. Caretaker instinct is strong leverage point. I kept scrolling, found entries going back 2 years. Our entire relationship documented like a science experiment. Then I found the timeline document. Project Sarah, relationship phases. Phase 1, months 0-3. Establish trust and connection. Be attentive, supportive, perfect boyfriend. Make her feel special and seen. Create emotional dependency. Phase 2, months 4-9. Increase involvement in her life. Meet all friends and family. Assess threats to relationship. Begin subtle isolation of highest risk connections. Install tracking and monitoring systems under guise of safety care. Phase 3, months 10-18. Deepen isolation. Reduce friend contact to minimum. Create conflicts and misunderstandings with family. Position myself as her primary, only emotional support. Move in together to increase control and monitoring. Status: complete. Phase 4, months 19-24. Secure permanent commitment. Pregnancy is ideal method. Creates biological financial bond, reduces mobility, increases dependency. Timeline: begin tampering with birth control. Month 22, target conception. Month 24, current. Month 22, status: ready to implement. I stared at that last line. Month 22. That was now. This month. Derek was planning to tamper with my birth control to get me pregnant without my knowledge. I scrolled further, found a document titled BC Sabotage Methods Research. It detailed different ways to compromise birth control pills: heat exposure, microwave damage, replacing pills with placebos. There was a note at the bottom: chosen method, microwave exposure. 30 seconds daily for 5 days reduces effectiveness to 140%. Will begin 11:15. Sarah won't suspect. Heat doesn't visibly damage pills. November 15th. That was 3 days ago. I grabbed my purse with shaking hands, found my birth control pack. The pills looked normal. But according to Derek's research, they wouldn't look any different. They'd just stop working. I sat in that parking lot for 30 minutes, reading through 2 years of manipulation, control, and calculated isolation documented in clinical detail. Every time I'd thought Derek was being caring, he'd been implementing a strategy. Every time I'd felt guilty for wanting space or time with friends, he'd been using that guilt deliberately. Every sweet gesture, every "I love you," every concerned text. It had all been part of a plan that culminated in getting me pregnant against my will, to trap me permanently. My phone buzzed. Text from Derek. "Hey babe, just checking in. Hope work is good. Love you." I stared at that text, at the heart emoji, at the casual checking in that wasn't casual at all. It was monitoring. I looked at the tracking app on my phone, the one Derek had insisted we both install for safety. He knew exactly where I was right now. Could see I'd been sitting in the parking lot for 30 minutes instead of going inside. Another text. "Everything okay? You're still in the parking lot." There it was. The surveillance disguised as care. I needed to think. Needed to figure out what to do. But I couldn't let Derek know I'd found the folder. Not yet. Not until I had a plan. I texted back, "All good. Just finishing a call with my mom. Heading in now." His response, "Okay, have a great day. Text me at lunch." I got out of my car, walked into my office, sat at my desk, called Emma. "Sarah, I thought you canceled lunch," Emma said when she answered. "I need to talk to you. It's urgent. Can you meet me?" "Not lunch. After work. Somewhere Derek won't know about." "Okay, now you're scaring me. What's going on?" "I can't talk on the phone. Derek tracks everything. Just, can you meet me at that bookstore on 5th Street? 6 p.m.? The one you introduced me to?" "Sarah, what?" "Please, Emma. I need help. And I need you not to tell anyone we're meeting." Long pause. "Okay, 6 p.m. I'll be there." I hung up. Deleted the call from my log. Derek had access to my phone records through our shared plan. Then I went through my day on autopilot. Worked. Texted Derek at the required times. Pretended everything was normal. At 5:30, I texted him, "Running a few minutes late. Traffic is terrible. Home by 6:30. His response was immediate. "Okay, babe. Drive safe. Love you." The tracking app would show me moving, so he wouldn't question it. I drove to the bookstore, found Emma waiting in the back corner, looking worried. "Okay, you have 5 minutes before I call the police," she said when I sat down. "You look terrified. What's happening?" I showed her everything. The folder, the spreadsheets, the timeline, the birth control plan. Emma's face went from concerned to horrified to furious as she read. "What the actual fuck?" she finally said. "Sarah, this is psychotic. This is abuse." "I know. Do you? Because you've been defending him for 2 years, while he's been systematically isolating you and planning to trap you with a pregnancy you don't want." "I didn't know, but you felt it, didn't you? You felt like something was wrong. And every time I tried to tell you, every time I said Derek was controlling or manipulative, you defended him." She was right. I had felt it. The constant guilt. The walking on eggshells. The way my world had gotten smaller and smaller until Derek was the only person in it. "What do I do?" I asked. "You leave. Tonight. Now. You don't go back to that apartment." "I can't just leave." "Yes, you can. He's planning to tamper with your birth control to get you pregnant against your will. That's reproductive coercion. That's assault. You have to leave." "But all my stuff is there. My clothes, my documents, everything." "We'll get your stuff later." with a police escort if necessary. Right now, you need to be somewhere he can't find you. He has the tracking app. He'll know. Give me your phone. I handed it to her. She turned it off, removed the SIM card, and put it in her purse. He can't track you if the phone's off. Now come on. You're staying at my place tonight. Emma. I don't know. Sarah. She grabbed my hands. I've watched you disappear over the past 2 years. I've watched you cancel plans, isolate yourself, become a shell of who you were. And I've blamed myself for not pushing harder to help you. But I'm pushing now. You're coming with me. We're going to my apartment. And tomorrow, we're going to a lawyer and the police. I started crying. Relief and fear and grief all mixed together. He's going to be so angry, I whispered. Let him be angry. You'll be safe. Emma's apartment was small, but felt like sanctuary. She made tea, gave me blankets, let me cry for an hour without saying anything. Around 8 p.m., her phone rang. Derek. Don't answer, I said immediately. I won't. But he knows something's wrong now. You were supposed to be home at 6:30. At 8:30, my work phone rang, the one Derek didn't monitor because it was company property. Emma had grabbed it from my car. I answered. It was Derek. His voice was tight, controlled. Sarah, where are you? I needed some space. I'm staying at Emma's tonight. Space. You needed space. After I spent all day missing you. After I made dinner for us. After I planned a whole evening together. The guilt started rising automatically. Then I remembered the spreadsheets, the manipulation, the pregnancy plan. Yes, space. I'll get my things tomorrow. Get your things? What does that mean? Sarah, are you breaking up with me over the phone? I'm not doing this right now. After everything I've done for you? His voice rose, the control slipping. After 2 years of loving you, supporting you, putting up with your friends' constant interference, you're just going to run away like a child? Derek, no. You don't get to do this. Come home. Now. We'll talk this through like adults. I'm not coming home. Sarah, I'm serious. Come home or we're done. Completely done. Part of me wanted to cave, to go back, to smooth things over. That was the instinct he'd spent 2 years cultivating. But I thought about the spreadsheets, the tracking, the plan to sabotage my birth control. Then we're done, I said. You don't mean that? You're just upset. Let me come get you. We'll talk. Don't come here. Don't contact me. We're done. I hung up, turned off the work phone too. Emma hugged me. I'm so proud of you. He's not going to let this go, I said. He's going to come here. Then we call the police. At 9:47 p.m., Emma's doorbell rang, then pounding on the door. Sarah! I know you're in there. Sarah! Emma called 911 while I hid in the bedroom. My friend's ex-boyfriend is at my door refusing to leave. She's trying to leave him, and he's harassing her. The police arrived within 10 minutes. I heard them talking to Derek in the hallway. Sir, you need to leave the premises. The resident has asked you to go. I just need to talk to my girlfriend. Sir, if you don't leave, you'll be arrested for trespassing. Eventually, Derek left, but not before shouting through the door, This isn't over, Sarah. You can't just throw away 2 years. I love you. The officer came inside to take a statement. Young guy looked concerned. Ma'am, I'd recommend getting a restraining order. Your friend mentioned you're leaving the relationship. Does he know where you work? Yes. Does he have access to your apartment? We live together. He has keys. I'd recommend going tomorrow with a police escort to get your belongings and file for that restraining order immediately. This kind of escalation is dangerous. After he left, Emma made up her couch for me. You're safe here. I promise. I barely slept. Every sound made me jump. Every car outside made me think Derek had come back. Around 3 a.m., my work phone buzzed. 37 missed calls from Derek and texts. I'm sorry I yelled. Please come home. We can work this out. I'll go to counseling. Sarah, please. I can't lose you. You're making a mistake. Emma is poisoning you against me. I've given you everything. How can you do this to me? Fine, fine. If you want to be selfish and ruin everything, go ahead. But you'll regret this. I'm sorry. I didn't mean that. Please just talk to me. The messages continued through the night, cycling between apologetic, angry, manipulative, threatening. It was exactly what the spreadsheets had predicted. When guilt didn't work, he escalated to anger. When anger didn't work, he returned to guilt. But now, I could see the pattern, could see the manipulation for what it was. Morning came. Emma had already called her lawyer friend who handled domestic situations. Her name is Patricia. She can see you at 10 a.m., and I'm coming with you. Patricia listened to everything, read through screenshots of the spreadsheets I'd taken, looked at the birth control sabotage plan. This is one of the most disturbing cases I've seen, she said. Systematic isolation, monitoring, emotional manipulation, and planned reproductive coercion. You need a restraining order immediately. And honestly, you should consider pressing charges. Charges for what? Stalking, harassment, attempted reproductive coercion, what he was planning to do with your birth control. That's criminal in this state. Will that hold up? He hasn't actually done it yet. He documented his intention to do it. He researched methods. He set a timeline. That's conspiracy to commit a crime. We filed for an emergency restraining order that afternoon. The judge granted it immediately after reading the evidence. Derek was served that evening, ordered to stay 500 feet away from me, Emma's apartment, my workplace, anywhere I was. He violated it within 12 hours. Showed up at my office the next morning. Security called the police. He was arrested, released on bail, showed up at Emma's apartment, arrested again. Patricia filed for criminal charges, stalking, harassment, violation of restraining order. Derek hired a lawyer who tried to paint me as unstable. She's overreacting to her boyfriend's concern for her safety. The tracking app was mutual. The notes were just journaling. But the evidence was too clear. The pregnancy timeline, the birth control sabotage research, the detailed manipulation strategies. The prosecutor offered a deal. Derek could plead guilty to stalking and harassment, attend a batterer's intervention program, and accept a permanent restraining order. Otherwise, they'd go to trial and pursue additional charges, including conspiracy to commit assault. Derek took the deal, pleaded guilty, got 2 years probation, mandatory counseling, and a permanent restraining order. I got my life back. It's been 14 months since I found that folder. I'm 31 now, living with Emma as roommates, slowly rebuilding the friendships Derek had systematically destroyed. Rachel and I got coffee last week. First time in over a year. She cried when she saw me. I'm so sorry I didn't fight harder to stay in your life, she said. You tried. I pushed you away. That's on me. No, it's on him. He knew exactly what he was doing. Sophie from work and I are close again. She'd noticed I'd become withdrawn, isolated. I thought you were depressed. I didn't realize someone was making you that way. I'm in therapy. Real therapy with a professional who specializes in emotional abuse and coercive control. You didn't ignore red flags, my therapist says. You were trained not to see them. That's what abusers do. They don't show up with warning labels. They show up with love and attention and slowly reshape your reality until you can't tell what's normal anymore. I'm learning to trust my instincts again, to recognize when someone's care feels like control, to understand that healthy love doesn't track your location or isolate you from friends or make you feel guilty for having boundaries. I started dating again 2 months ago, very carefully, with firm boundaries and zero tolerance for behavior that feels even slightly controlling. Met someone named Marcus. He's patient, respectful, has his own full life, and doesn't need to be the center of mine. When I told him about Derek, showed him the news articles about the arrest, explained the whole situation, he didn't run. "That's terrifying," he said. "I'm sorry you went through that. Most people think I should have seen it coming, that the signs were obvious. The signs are only obvious from the outside. When you're in it, when someone's manipulating you every day, rewriting your reality, how would you see it? You really believe that? I believe abusers are good at what they do. That's why they're dangerous. It's not your fault for being targeted by someone who studied manipulation like it was his job." Last month, I ran into Derek at a grocery store. First time I'd seen him since the trial. He looked smaller somehow, less imposing. Just a regular guy, not the monster who'd haunted my nightmares. He saw me, started to approach, then saw Emma with me and stopped. "Stay away from her," Emma said loudly enough for people around us to hear. He left without saying anything. I realized I didn't feel scared anymore. Just sad. Sad that I'd wasted 2 years. Sad that someone could be so broken they'd treat love like a military operation. But mostly, I felt grateful. Grateful I'd found that folder when I did. Grateful for Emma, who'd refused to give up on me. Grateful I'd gotten out before Phase 4 succeeded. Because if Derek had gotten me pregnant like he'd planned, if I'd been trapped by a child, financial dependence, biological connection, I might never have escaped. Now I'm free. Building a life that's actually mine, with friends who love me, a therapist who guides me, and a growing understanding that I deserve better than someone who sees me as a project to manage. If this story resonated with you, drop a comment about where you're watching from. And if you're in a relationship that feels like it's slowly suffocating you, where someone's care feels like surveillance, where guilt is a weapon, where your world keeps getting smaller, please know you're not crazy. You're not overreacting, and you deserve help. Subscribe for more stories. Because sometimes the people who say they love you most are actually destroying you piece by piece. And sometimes the bravest thing you can do is stop defending them and start believing yourself.